Welcome to Money, Manifestation, and Business, the podcast that shows you how to use your energy, intention, and consciousness to reprogram your money mindset, unleash a new level of possibility, and create a life and business that lights you up. I'm your host, Jamie Berman, and I invite you to join me each week for a dose of inspiration, coaching, and teachings to help you rewrite your money story, create abundance on your terms, and grow your business in a way that's fully aligned for you. This is going to be so much fun. Let's dive in. All right, we have our first interview guest today, and when I was thinking about who I want to interview first, Danijela popped into my mind immediately because Danijela has been such a huge part of my life, of my business, and has been a client for a few years now. So Danijela, I would love to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your zone of genius. And then we're going to talk about manifestation today.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for having me. When you asked me to be on this interview, I was like so excited. First of all, because I knew how long you wanted to do this podcast for. And then when you asked me to be your first guest, not going to lie, I might have cried a little bit. It was so amazing. And it was also another manifestation come true. So thank you for having me. And thank you for having me talk to your audience.
Yes. So Danijela is not only an incredible coach, I call her the intuition queen. She's like, I think you have intuition is just one of your superpowers. It shows in the work that we do together, which we'll talk more about. And you just have such access to your inner voice. And I know that you help your clients with that. So tell us a little bit about what you do in terms of your coaching.
Yeah, so most of my clients that I work with are highly sensitive women that have gone all their life following the rules, done the quote unquote right things, and eventually ended at this point. Like, who am I? How did I get here? And I feel like I've lost myself. And it's because they've been listening to everything else, everything out there, and forgot to go within. And I feel that has been trained out of us in the school system. And then also when we go into work, many of my clients that I work with are in corporate. So that is not encouraged. It's like you have these guidelines, you have these rules that you have to follow to be successful. And that's just not true. So I help my clients leave the noise of the mind behind, go within, connect to their body, connect to their intuition through breath work and meditation, and really start living the life that they actually want to live and not just a life that feels good on paper.
Yeah. Was that always natural to you, or was it something that was it like part of your curriculum, part of what you had to learn?
Yeah, that was definitely my curriculum. I was like, okay, well, I'm right here and this is where I want to go. So I couldn't even really enjoy where I was ever. It's like, okay, what is the next step? Like, let's just reach for the next thing, right? And then I just came to this point where I was like, I honestly thought that I was dying. Like, I thought that there was something really, really wrong, not realizing that it was anxiety. I thought that there was something very wrong and my body was giving me all the signals and I was just not listening. So the last probably 7-8 years, that was my curriculum. I had to unlearn everything that I've learned and go within and listen to my intuition, to my inner voice. And if I just knew back then where I would be today, I don't even think that I would believe it.
So incredible. And that's really how you manifest. And that's why I wanted to have you on today to share a little bit about your manifestation experience through the years and talk about how you do use your inner voice to lead you to that. And one of the fun manifestations, like, I feel like this is just the best story, but we actually, so Danijela not only is a coach, but also works with coaches and is basically a genius at social media. And so Danijela started working with me about, what was it, a little over a year ago.
Just over a year ago, yeah.
Yeah. And we actually manifested one another. Because you were a client before that. You were in the Soulful Six-Figure Mastermind. You had your coaching business. Tell me a little bit about the insight that you had or the intuitive nudge that you had to also start this business where you start working with coaches.
Yeah. Well, it's I was very much into design, like even in high school. Like while my friends would go out partying, I was kind of teaching myself how to use Photoshop, right? So that was always kind of something that I really enjoyed doing. And when I was in the Soulful Six-Figure Mastermind, my brother actually passed away, and I kind of took a break from everything, from my business, from working, from everything, and just needed to really focus on healing. So that's what I was doing. And then I had just returned to work, and I was doing my morning routine of journaling and just like stream of consciousness writing. And all of a sudden it just came like, I'm going to work with Jamie Berman. I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense, right? But I'm like, okay, well, this feels exciting. So let me just see what happens. Like I had no expectations. And I want to say this was April of last year.
Yep.
And a few months later, and I just kind of let it go too. Like it was just like, oh, this is interesting. Cool. Let's just see what happens, right? And then a few months later, one of my friends sent me a screenshot that said, I don't even remember what it said. Like you were looking for somebody to help you with repurposing social media content.
Exactly. Yeah. I had posted in like a Facebook group. Does anyone know of anyone? Like this was right after you got that nudge. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, is that Jamie that you used to be in her mastermind, right? I was like, yeah. And I couldn't let it go. It was just like my intuition kept nudging me and nudging me and nudging me. Just reach out. Who cares if you don't have experience? Just see what happens. And then the very next morning, I got some work together for you and sent you an email. I was like, this is what I can do for you. What do you think?
What I think is so fun about this story is that we were manifesting each other and we didn't even know it, because you got this intuitive nudge to work for me and it didn't really make sense to you. And at the same time, I was manifesting like the most amazing, aligned team member who really got my work. And I just wanted someone to kind of help take some of the social media off my plate. Because for me, I was like, I have so much content out in the world and I want to share it, but I don't have the space and the time to go through it all and to, pick pieces of it and share it on social. And I just wanted to like bring more of my teachings to the world, more value to the world. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to have someone who would like already liked this work, already got it, to go through it and be able to like repurpose and do some of my social media stuff. And it was actually really funny because I went through, I don't think I told you this, but I went through Chris Plackey, who's an amazing coach. I went through her program called How to CEO. And it was all about like how to hire, how to fire, how to manage a team and all of that, because I wanted to step into that CEO role. And I remember one of the most valuable things on the coaching call that she told me, because I was like, oh, I just don't even know how to start. Like, how do you hire? And she was like, Jamie, you're a manifestation coach. What are you talking about? Like, you can manifest your team member. And I was like, what? I totally forgot. Like, you can manifest anything, which I tend to do sometimes. I'm like, wait, oh yeah, you can manifest everything. So I literally like wrote down exactly what this felt like, who this person was, what they were doing for me. Like, it was just like I was writing out who is my dream team member. And after I got into that energy and did it, and then I had posted in that Facebook group, hey, I'm looking for someone to help with repurposing. And then you emailed me, which was amazing. And by the way, I have to say, I am still blown away by the email that you sent me, because not only did Danijela say, hey, I'm interested in working with you. No, this email she sent me she's like, hey, I'm really interested. A little birdie told me that, you're looking for someone. And not only did you just tell me you're interested, but you sent me a list of reels. You pulled content from like my old workshops. And you were like, here's a whole list of things that you could be posting on your social media. And you said, I'm not attached to this. You can totally keep it if, this it doesn't feel aligned, but I wanted to give you an example of the work that I could do. I was blown away. I was I'm like, yes. I was like, I just manifested Danijela. This is amazing. And I thought that was such an incredible example of value ahead of time, which is something that I teach in terms of, if you want to manifest money, like put value out in the world, show people what you can do, how you can help. And that was such a great example, because that was the first like instant yes I've ever had with a team member. So it's really fun to think about like how what you're manifesting might also be manifesting you, and that doesn't just go for team, like someone on your team, which it can, but it can also be clients. Like thinking about, if you're manifesting clients, they're probably out there manifesting you too. There's someone out there dreaming of someone just like you to help them or to support them or to, connect. I don't know. I love that story. I thought it was so much fun how we connected. And I've been just so grateful for everything you've done. So if, you've been a follower for a while, you can totally thank Danijela, because she really is behind so much of the work that I put out into the world. And you just do so much for the business. And I'm so grateful. And on top of that, you also implement it, right? So you're also a client, and now you're in the money manifestation movement. So you put both hats on, you work within it, and then you also implement it. And I thought it would be really fun to talk about what's happened since you've been doing this work and implementing it.
Where do I even start?
Right? I know. Well, you manifest like crazy. It's amazing. I love getting Danijela's messages, because like the way this girl manifests, it's amazing. And I want to talk a little bit about your process. But first, I'm curious, since we have been working together for a while, and not only have you been in the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind and the Money Manifestation Movement, and you've gotten coaching, but you're also just immersed in the work, right? So I'm curious, what do you think are like the top 3 things that have opened your eyes or shifted your life or your business in some way? Like, what's been the most impactful for you?
Well, so much. Is it okay if I just share a story about the movement and how I even joined?
Yes,
Because
sure.
it's such an amazing program. Like, because I'm working with Jamie, I had access to all the course material already. And I was in it for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to everything, and then I was like, is it okay if I join the movement to receive coaching from you?
I know. I'm like, wait, Danijela, you already have access to it.
Yeah, but like I wanted access to the coaching, because that is where all the gold happens, right? Like, even before you launched the movement, you shared all the videos with me, and I would listen to them as I was cooking dinner, and I was already manifesting and had like the biggest month of my business just listening and like taking in the curriculum and the material. But then the coaching just added another layer to it. So I'm really grateful that you said yes. I would have understood if you said no, but I was like, I'm looking for a coach for next year. For like, this was in 2022. I'm looking for a coach for 2023. Who is it gonna be? Who should I hire? And then I was like, well, she's right in front of you, you dummy. Just ask.
I love
So
it. That
yeah,
message
if
is the best.
you're thinking about the movement, definitely join because the program is amazing. Like amazing, amazing, amazing. And the community is just the best. Like I've made
Yeah.
such, even I've told you that before, you're really good at manifesting people. So the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind, I still like, they're some of the coaching friends that I'm going to have probably for the rest of my life. And then also in the movement, you're just really good at manifesting amazing people. And then we can do so much together in the world.
Thank you. That's one of my intentions. I love bringing community together and people together. I think it's so much more powerful when we're doing this work together. It's actually in my human design too. I think I have a 4 in my human design, and so it's big on community and bringing people together. And yeah, I absolutely love it, and I agree. I manifest the best people ever, including you.
Thank you. And then you asked me what the top 3 things that I've learned since being
Yeah,
in your
3-ish,
world.
right? Yeah, a couple
Yeah,
of things that you feel have shifted things for you in a big way.
like letting go of the how. Like
Mm.
I've been manifesting, I don't know, since I was like 19 or 20 when I came across the movement. And I'm sure you remember this in the mastermind. I was like, Jamie, I'm really good at manifesting everything except money.
Yes, I remember.
And then eventually you were like, you're never allowed to say that again. um, I still kept saying it, but I'm like unraveling that belief, like one thing that happens at a time, and I'm not so attached to that belief anymore.
Yeah,
So what I believe now is like I'm good at manifesting everything, including money,
yeah.
and it
You have
doesn't really
evidence of
matter where it comes from.
that. You have a lot of evidence of that now, Daniela.
Just a little bit, just a
We'll
little
talk
bit.
about that one in a little bit. But yeah, so
Yeah,
letting go of the how, so good. How do you do
yeah.
that?
For me personally, my process is I put the intention out there and I let my intuition guide me, right? Like I decide what I want and I'm just guided to the next step. And then the next step after that, and then the next step after that. And all I have to do is listen, right? And then when those opportunities present themselves, like we got to jump on them because the universe or God literally lays them out for us. And then when we don't go after them, what does that really say? Does that say like, oh, actually, I don't want it?
Yep, taking courageous action on it, right? Yeah. I'm curious for you in terms of, because I know this is one of the areas that people really struggle the most is they set a big powerful intention for themselves or decide
Mhm.
on what they want to create or manifest. And then the brain comes in and it's like the logical brain is like, but wait, I need the steps, I need the how, and then they get so stuck in that overwhelm because we can't possibly have the how,
Mhm.
get so stuck in that overwhelm that they don't end up, they kind of release it or let go of it or don't take action or just stay in overwhelm. And I think it takes a lot of courage to let go of the how. So, what is it that allows you to kind of like be in that space where you release the how, but you don't have that next step yet? It's not clear.
Yeah.
How do you stay with that?
For me, and what I teach my clients is it comes in the body. Like, how will it
Mm,
feel once I have it? And
yeah.
how can I stay in this feeling for as long as I possibly can without having the result?
Yeah.
Like, the result is great, but how can we create that feeling right now?
Yeah.
And usually, when we are in the feeling,
Yeah.
then the next step will present itself. And then it's time to take courageous action.
Yeah.
So I think so many of us are uncomfortable waiting for that next step to present itself. We just want to know right away. Like, I need to know now because if I don't know now how it's going to happen, then obviously I'm not going to hit my goal at the end of the month. And it's just like, can you sit in the discomfort? Can you just wait and trust that the answers will present themselves?
Yes. Totally. That's it. It's the willingness to be patient and wait. And that's something that I've also had to learn, like, because my brain wants to know, of course, all brains do this. We're like, give me the next step. I want to know it right now. And if I'm going to let go of the how, at least give me the next step right now. But yeah, it's like being willing to sit in uncertainty a little bit longer than maybe you want to, but knowing and trusting that it will come. And I also think the more that you practice it, the more you build trust around that, right? And you know that
Yeah.
it will come. One of my favorite thoughts is, I'll know when I know. Like, I
I
don't have
did
to
steal
solve it
that
from
thought
my
from
brain.
you.
Yes, yes.
Like the path will present itself when the path presents itself. Like
Yes.
we
Yep.
can sit here and worry about it and want the next steps, but if they're not here,
Yeah.
we're just making ourselves miserable.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any other practices or thoughts that have been helpful for you?
Just like the tapping has been super helpful for me. In the movement, there is a whole library of EFT tapping. So those are wonderful just to go to whenever like there is that fear of like, well, how is it going to happen? Or how am I going to create this result? Or anything like that. So whenever there's very heavy emotions in the body, the tapping really is a nice addition to that, where it can just like, it just melts away.
Yeah. So good.
And
Yeah.
then also the forgiveness work.
Mm,
I can't say enough of the forgiveness work. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. So powerful. So good.
so
And
powerful.
yeah, you've manifested some fun things this year. Do you
Hmm.
want to share a little bit about what you've manifested since you've started doing this work?
Do you just want me to go into the story of the New Year's retreat?
Yeah, sure.
So it was a retreat that Jamie put on for the movement that was a few hours long, where we had to set our intention on what we wanted to create that year. And I think that was for the first time ever that I went to my body, because all the previous years, it was just like, well, everybody else is telling me to set goals, but these like money goals never really excited me all that much. So I asked for permission, which is now silly. It's like, Jamie, how do you feel if I don't set a goal? If I just ask, show me how good it can get. Like, God, show me how good it can get. So that was kind of what I was sitting with almost every day.
Yeah.
And just things presented themselves, like not knowing. I couldn't even have imagined that my life would be going in the direction that it's going right now. And my latest manifestation is this beautiful house that we just moved into 25 days ago.
Yes.
And it's amazing. We manifested it with my parents, and with everything that, like, we also manifested enough money to do all the renovations and everything that we wanted to do to it, to make it like our forever home.
Yes.
And yeah, there was quite a bit of money left over, way
Yeah.
more than we expected.
So, along with not only manifesting your dream home and like the money to do all the renovations and have it exactly as you want it, and her home is
Yeah.
gorgeous. Sent me pictures. It's stunning and amazing, but also manifested a lot of money as an effect of this.
Yeah.
Are you open to sharing how much you manifested?
I actually don't know the exact number anymore, but it was over 200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a win. We share wins in the movement. All of a sudden, Danijela, it's like, I'm holding a $235,000 check in my hand right now. Like, what?
It's like,
So
how?
says
How?
says the woman who, thinks she's not good at manifesting money.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
thought.
Thought.
Yes. So
Well, I have evidence otherwise now, right?
you do. You definitely do. And you couldn't manifest that without having done internal work on money, right? Like, I think it's just such an effect of the work that you've been doing through these years. So I am curious, just if you were to think about your before you started doing work around your relationship with money and after, what was your relationship with money like before, or what were maybe some of the beliefs that you had about money versus how you see it now and what's shifted for you?
Yeah, my relationship with money was very like hot and cold. Sometimes I'd be like all in. It was almost like a dirty little secret. Sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, like let me go all in and like to look at my bank account on a daily basis and just be like very in there and then but I wouldn't tell anybody about it. And then I would just like forget about it for a while. And it was just like constant like it's like I'm all in or I'm not in at all. And that has changed so much, especially over the last year. Like, and I think I was just very conscious about looking for evidence of money in my life
Yeah.
and how it's already there.
Mm.
Because, like, I am good at manifesting money. I'm good at manifesting everything. I'm good at manifesting money. Why is my brain telling me that I'm not? So
Yes.
that was the biggest work, just to look at my bank account even. I think I wrote a post in the movement too one time. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that I had this much money in savings.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then you said, well, to me, it looks like you know what you're doing. Because for the longest time, I was telling myself, like, I don't know how to manage my money. I'm not good with money. And that has completely shifted.
Wow. That's huge. And that's such a common belief, I think, amongst women is like we've been just conditioned to believe that we're bad with money, we're not responsible, we're overspenders. But like, that's why I love looking at the facts and being like, wait a minute, like, is this even true? Or is this just like a running monologue that you picked up from somewhere? And so often it's not even true. Most of the time, it's not even true, right? But when we see ourselves like that, it affects so much. It makes us feel so powerless. It makes us feel, I don't know, for me, I used to feel that way too. And I felt a lot of shame around money.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was just something that was so out of my control. So I think it's so powerful that you've actually stepped into what is actually your truth, which is that you are good at money. You've really always been good with money. You've always been good at
Yeah.
manifesting money. And now
Yeah.
you're just amping it up.
Now we're just getting started. This is just the beginning.
So
This
I'm
is just
curious
the
about
beginning.
this. How do you feel with having that amount of money? Because I know that was a big thing for you before, was uncomfortable with a lot of money or having a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money or having big money. Has that shifted? Is it something you're working on?
It's definitely shifted, and I'm also working on it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Like first it was like, holy crap, how is this happening? Like how am I holding a check for over $200,000 in my hand right now? Right? Like how? Like I don't even understand. And then I had to calm myself down and really like regulate my nervous system and be okay, first of all, in my body. And then also to just celebrate it was a huge thing for me because in the past, I probably wouldn't have. And then right now, what I'm working on is just like acclimating to
Mhm.
it, like
Yeah.
acclimating to the wealth that I've created.
Yes. How do you do
So
that?
that's kind of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just curious, do you have practices around that or anything that you do to practice that?
Yeah, for me, it's all in the body. So I do a
Mhm.
lot of breath work.
Yeah.
And that is also something that I'm just like, okay, like let's bring it up. Let's bring the uncomfortable emotions up and let's just be with them until they dissipate. And the
Mm.
more I'm doing that work, the faster it like that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like it's almost like panic, you know? Like it's like, what if I lose it all? What if we become really irresponsible all of a sudden and
Yeah.
just like do something stupid with it?
Yeah.
So the more I'm willing to sit with the uncomfortable feelings, the more they dissipate, and then I can actually enjoy it.
Yes. That's huge. And I really think that's like our journey with our relationship with money. It's so interesting, right? Because you would think that once you make the money that you want, or even more than you had expected, right? Like
Mhm.
you would think it would feel like rainbows and daisies and amazing and like, yay, I did it. But what's so interesting is oftentimes we still need some coaching there. We've got some work to do on having it then and feeling safe enough to have this and feeling like we're responsible enough to have this, all of those
Yeah.
things. So that's something that's why I really like working with people over a longer period of time, not just like a couple of months, because there really is a journey with your relationship with money. I always think it's like step one is learning that you're the creator of money, right?
Mhm.
And then like learning to create money, how that process works for you. Step two is all about learning that you can consistently create money. It's not just a fluke,
Yeah.
right? Then step three is about like having money and getting comfortable, like the work that you're doing, comfortable actually having the money and like being in this identity of somebody who has money and feels safe with it and that it's okay. Right. And then step four is like really enjoying it. So you're like on your way there. So
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
incredible. I love it
It's
so
been
much.
it's been such a fun journey. Like it's been
Yes.
such a fun journey.
Yes. So
Yeah.
good. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
And I'm also curious about like your businesses and how that's evolved this year with this intention to just see how good it can get.
Mhm.
Which I love that intention. I think it's so amazing. And I loved that it just came through for you and what's unfolding with it. So, what's happened as an effect with your businesses? Because you have two businesses. So, you have your coaching
Yes.
business, and then, like we said, you have your social media business. So, what have you noticed with that?
How less attached I am to the outcome there too.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like I don't even really need to do a lot to attract clients. They just come, right? Like the opportunities just present themselves and they come through other people, like referrals through you, for example, and other coaches that I've worked with and other clients. Like I've probably done the least amount of marketing than I have since I started my business, and I've created more money than I ever have since
Wow.
starting my business. And it's just, I think it's mostly because I'm more comfortable with the rhythms of my life and I'm not trying to change them.
Yeah.
Like, I've just become really in tune with how I work and have been honoring that. And in turn, God is just like, here you go. You can handle it. Here's more. And
Yes.
let's create more space for it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that's such a shift for you, even within this year, right? Because I feel like you used to hold the belief that I remember you were asking me, like, Jamie, what are you talking about? You really associated. You had this like connection to more work equals, like I have to do more work to create more clients. How can it possibly be any other way? So it's so fun to hear that this is actually your experience now.
Yeah.
'Cause what a difference.
It's just because I've looked really in the past, because it's like I manifested some crazy things in my life. Like I manifested my husband, I've manifested jobs, I've manifested like houses, like more than one, right? And just really cool experiences. And as those manifestations happened, I didn't really need to do anything. I didn't really need to do more. I just kept setting the intention and just let it present itself. Like one one manifestation that comes up, like I had when I I think I was like 21, 22 when I started working in insurance. And I walked into this place and I was like, hey, I'm not licensed. I'm taking my test next month. Do you want to hire me? Right. And he's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. And then it was the day that that I accepted the offer that he said he wanted to hire me. I went to downtown Vancouver, where I live with my girlfriends, and I pointed at the biggest building, the most well-known insurance place in the world. And I just pointed and I was like, I'm going to be working there within a year. And I was there 10 months later. Like, I had no business getting that job, like nothing. And every single one of my manifestations happened like that.
Yeah.
I just put it out there, and I wasn't doing that in my business. I was like, well, here's the checklist of the things that I need to do in order to create a client.
Yes. Yes.
And
So
that's just not my process.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So you saw that difference of like, wait, I can that was a similar experience to me where it's like, wait a minute, I manifest all these amazing things over here, but somehow I think money in business is different and much harder and that I have to effort my way. Right. And so did you just surrender into the manifestation process? What was that like?
Yeah, I kind of took it like you did. It's like, let's just experiment with it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, we can always go back to working hard.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And burning ourselves out. But it's not fun.
No, it's
this
not.
This way is so much more fun. So much more fun.
Yes, yes. I'm curious, Danijela, because I haven't really heard what's next for you. What's the do you have like another intention? Are you still holding this like, let me see how good it can get? Or what's the next vision?
Well, I'm still acclimating to what I've created because, like I said, we just moved on August 1st. It's the 25th today. So I'm just still like very much acclimating to that. But my intention going forward is just to travel more and just to live more and to enjoy life more and just to create the space for that, which I'm already doing.
I love that. That's beautiful. And it's done. I mean, when Danijela sets an intention, just watch a couple months from now. So amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and all of your insights and how the manifestation process works for you. So I think it's so helpful hearing different people's perspectives, different people's stories, because even though you've been like working with me for a while, your process is your own. And that's what I love about manifestation is it's really not a one size fits all. Like you have to go in there and experiment and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And I love that you've done that, right? And for you are such a like body centric. I don't know if that's how you would call it, but like you really use your body. Yes, you use your body and what comes through in your body and what the feelings that are there in your body to kind of guide you. And I love that you've discovered that for yourself and you've discovered your process. It's so amazing. Yeah.
And also like my intuition doesn't just guide me. It like gives me ideas for other people like you even, right? Yep. Like there's been a few times where I was like, Jamie, my intuition told me this for the movement.
Yep. Yes. And that's why I'm saying like so much of what I do, like we can thank Danijela, right? Like Big Money Month in August. Danijela's like, Jamie, do Big Money Month. My intuition's telling me. I'm like, let's go. I love it. Yeah. You've given me so many great ideas. And I know you do that with your clients too. And it's such a gift. So thank you so much for being in my life and for being a part of the movement and the team. It's just really, really special. So if people want to connect with you either for coaching or for social media management, where can they find you?
The best place is Instagram, and it's at Danijela Fadera. I'm sure you're going to link it because nobody knows how to spell my name. But it's DANIJELAFADERA on Instagram.
Perfect. I will definitely link it in the show notes and on the website. So if you want to find Danijela and connect with her, I highly recommend it. Her Instagram's so good. All right, Danijela, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this episode is something that you'll be able to add to your manifestation toolbox to come back to when you need a little extra motivation. If you like what you've heard today and want to take it deeper, you've got to come check out my signature coaching program, the Money Manifestation Movement. It's the place where you'll not only learn manifestation, but you'll begin to live it alongside me and an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs doing this work together. Head on over to jamieberman.com to learn more.